Yeah. I absolutely love that intro. Thank you very much, Andy. For some reason, I'm really nervous about doing this podcast. I can stand on stage and talk in front of hundreds of people, but talking to my phone, I'm nervous. It's really weird. So, welcome to Podcast 96. I'm your host, Jordan. A couple of thank you straight away to Andy Cecil Robinson for doing everything tech, because without him, I'd have just literally gone Facebook Live and it would have been a nightmare. Big thank you to Vicky, who's done our poster. Looks absolutely beautiful. Big thank you to Beth, big supporter, and my mum. Hi. And everybody that has shared the post so far. So Podcast 96, just share it, guys. Like the page. I just want to encourage people talking, people coming on here, talking about things they love, things they're passionate about. If you've got a charity coming up, come on the show and we'll promote it for you. Just use this as a platform and we'll promote anything, fun days, anything. We've got a couple of advertisements coming up. If you want to come on the show and talk to me about anything, come on. Just give me a message. Let me know in advance. Come on and we'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. If you want to come on and talk about shoes, I ain't got the first clue about shoes. Come on and tell me about shoes. If you're passionate about it, come on Podcast 96 and we'll have a little chinwag. We'll have a chat. It'll be good. Obviously, my three main topics are football, wrestling and entertainment. Doesn't have to be about that. If you like it, bonus. If not, it doesn't matter. Honestly, anyone that wants to come on, just come on. Let's get people talking. Like I said, we're going to have a charity very, very shortly. I'm maybe thinking NHS. If anyone else has got any ideas, let me know. And we'll get around to it. But I have got two fantastic guests today. They are absolutely brilliant names in the entertainment business. I've had the pleasure of working with one. I've had the absolute pleasure of meeting the other. I've not worked with both of them yet, but I know both of them. They're both very dear friends to me. So please welcome Rhys Jones and Paddy Bennett. Da-da-da-da-da-da. There they are.
Hey guys, how are we doing? Oh, awesome. Hey Paddy,
Hello.
good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
How are we doing, guys? You both good?
How are we?
Yeah, not bad. Had a bit of a change
Not
of
so bad, you?
Had a bit of a change of location because my internet connection's a little bit rubbish.
We lost you for a minute, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But
We were about half a minute until the podcast. We lost Rhys, and we all started freaking out. Only Rhys.
Yeah.
I can't actually hear Rhys there, Jordan.
You can't hear Rhys. We'll
No.
We'll get
Oh, no.
Rhys. Can you hear Paddy?
Yeah, I can hear Paddy, unfortunately.
Well, I could try and look Rhys.
We'll get Andy on it. Andy's the behind the scenes techie because I don't do that. Do we like the little setup with the footballs and
I
the
love
ring
it.
and
I actually really love it. Who designed it? It is brilliant.
Vicky designed the poster and Andy's done all this behind the scenes. He's set this whole thing up. Like I said, I'd have just gone Facebook Live.
Absolutely legendary. I love
Can
it.
I ask,
I'm
Podcast 96. Why 96?
year I was born.
Oh, I see.
I just thought it would have been funnier if the digits were the other way around. I mean, so.
I'm still getting used to if I move left, my head goes right. I'm still getting my head around that. So, it's my first podcast. I thought it'd be really good to have you two on first because we've both been in the industry for years, and our careers have somehow like intertwined. It's really weird how it's worked. Two of us have worked at Coghurst. Me and Paddy have been manager there. Me and Rhys both worked at Steeple, and you two have worked at Martello. And me and Rhys met at Harlin. And I know you two worked at another park at the same time. Was it the same time or?
He actually took over.
It kind of
from me,
overlapped, didn't
so,
it?
yeah.
Can you hear each other now?
Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, that's not good.
But if I can see his lips move, I'll just shut up.
That's fine. I think Andy's on it. Maybe if we Andy can't sort sound. That's fine. Can't hear each other. I don't know why. but it's cool. Have you got a spare phone? Maybe you can hear him in the background.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Oh dear. Yeah, what are we gonna do? You can't hear me.
It's fine. It's fine.
Mhm.
We'll work
That's
with
fine.
it.
Okay.
That's
Is
all
it worth
No
me
worries.
dropping out and rejoining? See if that works.
I would ask Andy. He's the tech man. No idea.
Oh dear. Technical issues. Woo.
It's cool.
It happens. It happens.
What Andy said. We've got our own little private chat. Do your shout out, and while you do that, both. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do some advertisements. If you do drop out, then we'll have you back in. So I'm gonna do my advertisements.
Okay, dokes.
No worries.
Quicker than I expected, but that's fine. I can do them again. So first of all, we've got our Park Holidays TikTok page. If anyone's on TikTok, everybody seems to be doing it these days. It's absolutely brilliant. I didn't get it for about 2 weeks. I didn't know how to upload a video. Now I'm doing all sorts. I fell into a door the other day pretending to be Del Boy. If you do want to follow the Park Holidays TikTok page, it is at PHUK Parkstars or hashtag PHUK Parkstars. There's loads of videos on there. They're all absolutely fantastic, all run by the entertainment team from Park Holidays. Check it out. It is absolutely fantastic. We've also got some pod pages that I've said I'd share because these managers have been kind enough to share my page. So let's have a look what we got. We've got pod at Coghurst. That's the pod I'm at. Absolutely fantastic pod at Coghurst on Facebook. We've got pod at Martello Beach down in Clacton. So that's pod at Martello Beach. We've got pod at Marley. Marley's based in Kent, run by the lovely Chantel. We'll have her on the show in the future. Pod at Marley. We've got pod at Lanscove down in Devon, lovely park with the lovely Jodie, always having a cuppa. Pod at Lanscove. We've got pod at Steeple Bay, my old park, based in Southminster, lovely park with Carl Merritt and his team. Check that out, lovely park. Pod at Steeple Bay. We've got pod at Colton Mears. I'm not sure where that's based, but it's a very nice park. It's a premium park. We've got the lovely Blake there, pod at Colton Mears. And we've got pod at Winchelsea Sands, down the road from me, in Hastings. That's with Paul, Sean and Joanne. Lovely team there. So there's your pods. Let's have a look.
Right, take two. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Back.
I can hear Rhys.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes! Woohoo! Woohoo!
Round of applause to Andy.
Can you hear me, love?
Oh, I can always hear you, mate. You sexy beast.
Right, Paddy, can you hear Rhys?
Can you hear me, Jordan? Yes, I can.
Right.
Rhys,
We
can you
all
hear
each
Paddy?
other. Yes.
There we go. First time live. There's going to be some technical, isn't there?
No, that's fine. We'll go with it. So yeah, like I was saying, are you okay there, Rhys?
Oh yeah, you know.
I was really nervous about this, but literally now it's just like a FaceTime call, innit? And when I've got Rhys dancing in the background, it eases my nerves.
Very good. That's why I do it. Although it actually makes some people more nervous when I dance sometimes. I don't know why, but
Gary Tustin said pod at Harlin Sands. I don't believe Harlin Sands has a pod, but
thank God for that.
good old Harlin Sands. But yeah, like I was saying, it's really strange how our careers have
Intertwined, yeah. Mm.
And we've only ever been in the same building once, and that was for a barn dance.
Mm. I know.
Yeah,
that
was a great night. That.
Yeah, I pied you in the face, didn't I?
You did, but to be fair, it was a forfeit for a bet, and I lost. So
what was that? What was that all about?
Paddy
because we had the staff. Sorry, go on.
Paddy set me a list of challenges to do at Fort Park because there was a Park Star trip to Fort Park to celebrate the end of peak season. So we went to Fort Park, and then I visited Paddy before I went. He gave me a list of challenges, which were quite insane, actually, from going tidal waving my underwear to reenacting me in between a scene on the front seat of Nemesis Inferno.
Which you did.
And I did it all, and I recorded it, and I had
it.
evidence. And Yeah, and that means I could do a forfeit to
And
Paddy.
a couple of simple things like get a selfie with a member of staff, things like that.
Yeah, and I won, and I got to pie Paddy at the Parkstar party, much to the bemusement of the management team.
I mean, you say you won, but I was walking around with you that day at Fort Park.
Don't say anything. Do not.
We was in the queue. No, I'm not going to drop you in anything. We was in the queue, and suddenly Rhys just pulls his trousers down and takes his top off, and I'm like, Rhys, what are you doing? We're about to get on a water ride. And he's asking the man that runs the ride, "Oh, can I ride this ride in my underpants?" And me and Sean, sheepy as people may know, were just staring at each other in disbelief. Rhys has just stood there in his underwear, taking it all in.
Amazing.
Well, if you're going to do mad things, you got to make sure that the people in charge know that you're not going to do anything more mad, so you can get away with the mad stuff. I mean, that's kind of my logic.
How cold actually was it, Rhys? How cold was it?
It wasn't too bad, to be honest. It wasn't as cold as I was expecting. It was cold, but it wasn't like freezing. It was bearable. So
it was funny because when we got on the ride, there weren't anyone in the queue. But when we got off, Rhys come off and he stood there in his boxers, dripping wet, and he went, "Woo!" And these people were just coming into the ride, and I don't think they could quite believe what was going on because they saw this guy dripping in his boxers.
I'm dripping.
Thanks for that, Paddy, for setting him that challenge.
It was our regional manager's reaction as well. Welcome. That was brilliant. Oh
yeah.
My word.
I don't know if he approved or not.
I think he did. He because he knows it's me and he knows I'm a bit crazy. It's like, you know.
There you go. So I don't know how long we're going to be talking today. I know people might have some questions. I've got loads of questions for you, but I just wanted to start off with entertainment. How Paddy, I'll start with you. How did it start? What got you into it? How did it all start, man?
I mean, well, I've always had an interest in like drama from a young age. Like, I remember at school just being obsessed with getting to year 7 because that's when we started doing it. And then I started doing entertainment around. What was that?
I think that was a car.
Okay, good. So around about sort of 15, 16 was when I fully got into it. And then I've just never looked back, really. Studied performing arts at college. Went off to work for Disneyland in Paris, came back, became a redcoat, and then it's just
from there. We'll get into you working abroad. But was there like a specific part or time like that you said like I want to do this? Because I remember for me, I went to a holiday park called Searles in Norfolk, and there was this entertainer. He was called Rolo, and he was literally when he was on the stage, I was just mesmerised by him. I was watching him all the time, and I just said that I've got to do this.
Yeah, not really. I mean, because I started off doing mobile discos when I was like quite young, and so that kind of, I was the one sort of going out from behind the decks and doing like the, Macarena and all that sort of thing. But then when I left college, obviously auditioning for Disney, that was like a big thing. But then seeing the redcoats at Butlins, it was kind of that's like, oh, that looks really cool. It's better than working for a living, isn't it? So, yeah.
Definitely. What about you, Rhys? How did it all start?
Entertainment for me, it started as a hobby. I didn't mean for it to be a career at all because I only discovered that I had a natural tendency to entertain when I was in the army. I was put into a couple of extreme situations whilst I was in there, and to get myself out of the darkness, if I call it, what I used to do is to cheer myself up. I used to cheer everybody else up. So off my own back, I just used to do like game shows in the military TV rooms and stuff. But it got so popular that I kind of had to get bigger rooms and stuff. And that's when I found out that I was a natural entertainer, that it wasn't just like a hobby or a job or something I can click into. It's who I am as a person. And then when I got back into Civvy Street after the army, it just went bonkers from there. I started using my skills and haven't looked back. It's brilliant.
Awesome. But wasn't there a song that was made in the army, but you now perform on the bar.
There's a couple of songs, to be honest, that I kind of made. One of the most popular songs that I made because I wasn't the only songwriter in the military. There was quite a few musicians, even if they weren't in the music corps, and we used to make songs about stuff. And at the end of training, everyone kind of makes a song together as well. It's so songwriting is actually quite a big part of military bonding. And I made a couple of songs. One of them, I dissed the corporal really bad to the tune of "Hit Me Baby One More Time" by Britney Spears, and it's still performed to this day. I mean, I actually get it requested all the time. And when the NCOs found out, I became quite popular. The NCO that it was about, the corporal that I did this, he hated it. He really hated it, and I think he's still out for my blood today. I don't know, but yeah, there's a couple of songs, a couple of collaborations that I did. There is one song actually that I was going to perform.
Get a little performance.
Yeah, what I'm going to do in a bit is, if you want to talk to Paddy, I can see if I can get my internet sorted out in the caravan, and because it's fluctuating quite a lot. So what I'll do is, if you want to talk to Paddy for a bit, I can go and get going on the piano and give you a little performance if you want.
Go for it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so Andy,
if it don't work, just come back.
Yeah, we'll do. So Andy, if you'd like to drop me out for a bit, and I will.
Oh, straight out. Not even Awesome, man.
Andy, you are brutal, love.
He's just straight out, isn't he? There wasn't even a time for a goodbye to it. Rhys will be back. I just love you're talking about how your career began. He's in the background. He can never keep still, can he? He's just in the background doing the Macarena
or whatever.
Have you worked with Rhys, or do you just know you're friends with Rhys?
I mean, briefly, because the whole story behind where we met in Devon, we were working for a hotel, which is part of the Diamond Resorts group, and they're brilliant. Like, I'd use the word smart. I wouldn't call it posh hotels, but they're smart, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I got the job to be Ents manager there, and I was basically taking over from Rhys because he managed to bugger his knee up, so he had to go and have some surgery on it. So obviously, couldn't fulfill. So we spent about sort of 5 days together while he was doing the handover to me, and yeah, we just kept in touch from there because he's a big fan of Muse, which I am as well. And we just got on really well. And then obviously when I got the job with PHEK, I found out he was there as well, so it was like a good excuse to get back in touch again. So yeah, we just sort of been in touch. That was 2016 we first met, so 4 years.
Awesome, man. I think entertainment is one of them where so many people know so many people. It's like yesterday when we went into that chat, it's like I knew you, Andy, and Rhys, and then you and Andy were like, "Oh, hello, long time no see," and it's like everybody knows everybody in this industry, like somehow.
Which I'd say all the entertainers that we know, like obviously when we had seminar earlier on this year, because everyone's come from different places. Some people come from PDR, Haven, wherever. I would guarantee every entertainer knows 4 or 5 people that the other one knows.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas because it's quite a big industry. I think there's something like 700 and something holiday parks in operation and in business in this country. So it's a big industry, but it is so small because a lot of people know a lot of other people. So if you do something bad or get a bad reputation for yourself, it'll spread. Yeah. And it will spread. Yeah. That's why you've got to be careful.
Where else have you worked? You've obviously worked with Park Holidays, and you said you took over from Rhys. Have you worked for any other companies?
Oh, crikey, yeah. Sandy Balls was probably the first place, which is down here in the New Forest. That used to be an independent park. It's now been taken over by Away Resorts, which nothing against how they used to run it, but Away Resorts taking it over was a really good move because they didn't really have entertainment beforehand. A mate of mine, Simon, used to do it, but only in the summer holidays and half terms. And then from there, obviously went to Disney. I had a couple of other jobs in between. Like I worked for Cafe Nero and Blockbuster. If you remember Blockbuster Video? Hey.
I remember Blockbusters, yeah.
Yeah. And then like I said, I went on holiday to Butlins, which was my last holiday I've had. That was in 2009. I haven't had a holiday since. And then obviously worked for them. Halfway through, I moved from Minehead over to Bognor and did Magic with Steve Mulhern. After that, I worked for Holborn, which is they've only got about 7 parks, but they're absolutely brilliant company. Holborn, where'd I go to from there? Then I started going abroad, went to Gran Canaria, Mallorca, Bulgaria, came back from that, then worked for Park Dean and Park Resorts when they were separate companies. Obviously now they're Park Dean Resorts. After that, blimey, early. Oh yeah, Riverside Caravan Centre, Bognor Regis. That's a really cool place. Independent company, but one of the biggest rooms I've ever worked in. It's absolutely amazing. And then from there to here.
You've done the rounds, haven't you? I mean,
only a couple.
I've got loads of questions written down for you. I've got loads of questions written down for you, but just based on what you just told me,
cool.
I've got like another 5 or 6 questions just based on what you told me.
That's cool.
If that's cool. We got Rhys back. Hello, Rhys.
I don't know how long that's going to last, though. This is actually not the best, but I'll make most of it one. So
you sound like you fell down the toilet, to be honest. You do.
Sounds a bit like
Yeah, you do sound like a bit like a Dalek, mate.
Dalek Rhys.
Oh, thank you very much for that.
While we're on the subject, Jordan.
You can hear me all right, but your when you move, it's really slow. I don't know. Maybe when you've done your piano, maybe get back outside if it's not too cold.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Do I still sound like a Dalek?
A little bit.
Do I still sound like it now, or
Just a little bit? Oh no, there you go.
a little bit? Oh,
I mean, we got a message.
Jordan, just a quick thing. Quick thing, Jordan, just to flip things around on you. How did you get started? What's your story?
So like I said earlier, me and my granddad was an owner at a holiday park in Norfolk called Searles. It was all privately run, but it was massive, and we used to go down there because I'm from a little town called March in Cambridgeshire, so we used to go there in the summer. I used to take my friends, but when I was younger, there was a guy there called Rollo. I think he might be doing a bit of theatre now. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he was there for years, and he used to come out. And do you remember the magic colouring book where you I'm not going to reveal how it's done, but like he'd turn the book and it would be like completely invisible, and then you got one. I bet he's got one. Paddy Magic.
well, he's a magician. Of course, he's going to have one.
He's a magician.
Do you mean
That's
this thing?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, you've got a colouring book, and it's got, well, there's one picture I've coloured in, but the rest are all blank. And then you just give it a little bit of a blow, and then you get pictures with no colours. But then you give it a little twirl like that. You see, then all the pictures become coloured in. Is that the trick you're on about?
That's exactly the one. But he used to come out, and he had such a presence on stage, and the way he used to deliver everything. He used to come out, and you don't get it anymore with entertainment, but all the kids were sat on the stage and they were looking up at this entertainer. And that's it. A lot of people say entertainment is easy, but I think it's one of the hardest things. But to have every single child sat on the floor watching you do a trick, I think that takes a lot of skill and a lot of patience, to be fair. But he used to come on, and he used to do this thing where he used to take some deep breaths, and then he'd let out a massive burp on the microphone, and he'd have all the kids in stitches. And he would do the magic colouring book, or he'd do something where a spider would appear from not a real spider, a spider would appear from the colouring book. And I was just glued. I was absolutely glued to it. And then me and my family, we used to go to places like we went to Haven a lot. And I I was always just obsessed with the entertainers. Wherever the entertainers was, I was that kid following them about, and I was joining in with everything. And at school, I was quite shy. I was really shy. But when I was a kid on the holiday parks, I would follow them about. And then I said, "This is what I got to do." But then I didn't think I had the courage to do it. I didn't think I'd ever have it with Ross Rees again. But then in 2012, I don't want to go in too much to it, but obviously had my heart surgery. Then after that, I said, this is something I've got to do because you only live once. And I started with Harlin Sands, thanks to my stepdad, Gary. He got me the job at Harlin Sands in 2014, and I was only 17. It's a private park. So I started at the age of 17. And I spent a few years there, and then I wanted to climb a ladder a bit more, so I applied for park holidays. I was at St. Joseph for my first season, which was absolutely brilliant. And then after that, I moved to Steeple Bay, where I was with Reese last year and Ben and Vicky, and that was a fantastic season. And then this year, was lucky enough for them to let me be Ents manager and at Coghurst. So.
Rightly so.
That's how it started for me. But just anything entertainment I love when I'm on stage. I think it's the same for everybody. You go into that zone where you just become someone else.
I think with a lot of entertainment as well, there's a quote by Richard Branson, which is accept the job and then learn how to do it later. I think that's the way with a lot of entertainment, because again, not having done it before, obviously you get the training and everything else, but it's one thing to do it in theory, like in training, they do the whole, present someone on and then they'll present someone and all this. It's all very well and good, but until you get up on the stage when you've got an audience, you never know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, so definitely. I
think that's part as well.
We got a lot of comments coming on it. Could we maybe have the comments up a bit longer? Because I'm trying to read them. Trying to hold kids' attention.
Sarah Tustin.
Absolutely, yeah. That's my mum. We got Vicky. Favourite magic.
I find if you just with kids, all you got to do is say the word poo over the mic, and they find it hilarious.
Yeah,
just to them.
I will literally do a fart noise down the mic, and they'll laugh, or sometimes I'll get if I've got a boy on stage, I'll go, "Oh, what's your name?" Or if I've got a little girl on stage and they'll say Summer, and I'll say, "Oh, that was my name when I was a little girl," and everybody will absolutely go in hysterics. You're not a girl. And I think if you can get on, if you can get on the kids' level, whether they're 5 or whether they're 15, if you can get on their level of maturity, you've got them. And I think it's about
the same. One of my favourite jokes. One of my favourite jokes I use in kids' time. Let me ask you this, Jordan. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Europe.
Europoo.
No, Europoo. You see what I mean? It's a rubbish gag, but it's so immature. It's just I just turn into a kid myself. I find half the time.
Definitely, I think that's what you've got to be. I mean, like I said, a lot of people do say it's the easiest job, and it can be. It can be the easiest job because you can be so silly and immature, but
it's like a lot of energy. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, to hold kids' attention and really get them. I mean, we do our crazy cruise for an hour and a half. To keep kids for an hour and a half with all the gadgets they're on now, it's a lot harder than what it used to be. Definitely.
I think because with Crazy Crew, with Crazy Crew, you have to keep that energy up. You have to keep just. You got to keep that energy up for a whole hour and a half, and I think at first some entertainers were struggling because a lot of people got sore throats because, Crazy Crew, you have to be loud, you have to be brazen. Yeah. But as time went on, we kind of got accustomed to it, and it's made us a lot stronger as entertainers. I have to say, the Crazy Crew format that
for sure
Park Holidays have got is actually pretty awesome. I do like it. I love the apps. The apps are just genius.
Definitely. I saw a question there from Vicky, and we will get to questions. I saw what was Paddy's favourite magic trick, but we will get to it. not ignoring questions. If we do have any comments, Andy, can we just hold them up there for maybe 10 seconds? Because I am blind as a bat, despite me wearing glasses. I've got a proper look
Go
at
to
the screen. or unless you can read, if you can see them, read them out, because my eyes are awful. But Rhys, was you planning on doing a little song for us?
I was. Unfortunately, I cannot use the piano because my internet connection inside the caravan is sugar honey iced tea.
I like that.
Can I request something?
You can request it. Yeah, you can request something if you want me to do something.
Can we have the Nations of the World song?
Oh my word!
Oh, challenge.
Okay, right now, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it for you guys. No worries. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Ready.
So yeah, tell the story. How did it? Someone challenged you, didn't they?
Yeah, there's a guy who I live with who does panto with me. He does the sounds of the panto society that I go to, and it was a challenge because he showed me the video, and he was like, "You should do that," and I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll rise to the challenge." And I was going to do it in panto that year on the Saturday night as a one-off, but then I learnt it, and then once I learnt it, it hasn't. And then once I learnt it, I had to learn another different version because the version that I learnt was not up to date. There was a lot of countries missing, so I had to learn an up-to-date version. I had to put the recent countries into this version, and took a lot of work. And my mind, it was going in my mind as I went to bed and stuff. But I can do it now, and it's become a part of my set now, which is along with the periodic table song as well. I can do periodic table elements as well.
Let's go for the Nations of the World song.
For people who've never heard the song before, it is really fast, and I put it on a TikTok a couple of days ago. I can memorise the first 4 beats, and that's it. You'll understand why when you hear Rhys do it.
Okay, are we ready? Right.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Dominica, St. Lucia, El Salvador, too, San Marino, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Grenada, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, and Barbados, Serbia, and Montenegro, Norway, and Sweden, and Iceland, and Finland, and Germany, and UAE, that's United Arab Emirates, Switzerland, Austria, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Italy, Turkey, and Greece, Poland, Romania, Georgia, Albania, Ireland, Russia, and Oman, Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Cyprus, Iraq, and Iran, then Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan, United Kingdom, as England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, Kuwait, and Bahrain, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Portugal, France, Belarus, Denmark, and Spain, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Ukraine, Turkmenistan, Macedonia, Vatican City, Tajikistan, Latvia, Kazakhstan, Croatia, Vietnam, Equatorial Guinea, South Africa, Slovenia, Cape Verde, Armenia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, Kiribati, Comoros, and St. Kitts and Nevis, North Korea, Brunei, Eritrea, the Ivory Coast, Timor, Antigua, and Bermuda, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Andorra, Estonia, the Congo, Mauritius, Solomon Islands, Maldives, India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Panama, Micronesia, China, South Korea, Japan, Mongolia, Laos, Singapore, Indonesia, the Philippines, Tuvalu, Papua New Guinea, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Seychelles, Southland, Vanuatu, Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, the Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana, Burundi, South Malawi, and Togo, Cambodia, Azerbaijan, Nigeria, Chad, Liberia, Egypt, and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya, and Mali, Sierra Leone, Samoa, Nauru, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Moldova, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Burkina Faso, South Africa, Brazil, Qatar, and Tonga, Yemen, Mauritania, Lithuania, Malacca, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine, Timor-Leste, Swatini, Myanmar, Holy See, Central Africa, Republic, Marshall Islands, Fiji, Australia, Sudan.
Wow, mate! Round of applause for Rhys, mate. Goodness me.
Snaps for you, dear.
Mate, people are giving you a round of applause on my comments. When you used to perform that, I used to be in the pod when I worked with you at Steeple, and I used to be trying to think, not to try and put it down on it. I used to be trying to think, did he name that country? And I think, yeah, he's named that country. And you literally have just named every single country.
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you remember that?
Again, I can do the first bit. That's about it. United States, Canada,
I can do United
Panama,
States,
Jamaica,
Canada,
Peru.
Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. Yeah, that's all I can do.
Same.
But to remember that just like that was, goodness me.
That is mad.
But we'll get more into entertainment. I mean that right there took up about half hour of the show, but we'll get into more. We'll get we'll get into more. But before we do that, I just want to give a little shout out, another advertisement.
Ooh.
It's to a company business in Cambridgeshire area. It's called Bamboogie Family Entertainment. It's run by my lovely mum and stepdad. So Bamboogie Family Entertainment. You can see their Facebook page and number on the screen. So if you are based in the Cambridgeshire area, we've got Bamboogie, and we've also got Boogie Tots as well. They do Boogie Tots is something I did it this morning, and they've got this song in my head all day now about a wrinkly elephant. Yeah, Boogie Tots, absolutely fantastic. They do lots of interactive stuff with toddlers, nursery rhymes, and sing songs and musical instruments. Bamboogie is family entertainment, so they do kids parties, adult parties. So if you are based in the Cambridgeshire area, give them a shout. Definitely recommend it.
Sounds
Good
awesome.
prices.
Awesome,
Bamboogie
yeah.
Family Entertainment and
should
Boogie
go.
Tots. We should go. We should go to Boogie Tots. I've been to Boogie Tots. I have been to Boogie Tots with Beth. We
could book him to
enjoyed
celebrate
it.
your 12th birthday, Reese.
I was thinking of my birthday. It's my birthday in 2 days' time. Woo.
It is, isn't it? And you're 28.
Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm
Nearly
sorry.
30
I've named
now.
your age on that. I've named your age on live on the podcast.
You
Right.
young whippersnapper.
I can't believe I've actually reached this far, to be honest, after all the crazy stuff I've done. It's absolutely insane. So, but
we're Boogie Tots 10 to 11 on Tuesday. Obviously, at the minute, with everything going on, I don't want to get too much into the COVID-19 stuff, but everything that's going on, obviously, they're not doing Boogie Tots and Bamboogie at the minute. But they do go live every Tuesday, 10 to 11, on their page, Boogie Tots. So 10 to 11, they go live, and they're absolutely fantastic. Gary, he's put, we do the whole UK. He does the whole UK, not just Cambridgeshire. So if you're watching from Newcastle and you've got a party, ring them up. If they do the whole UK, they do the whole UK. I didn't know that. Sorry about that. Elephants have wrinkles. Yeah, that's been in my head all day. Thanks. That's my mum, by the way.
How does the song actually go? Come on, Jordan. I've sung a song. You got to sing a song.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's sort of like
how can it stuck in your head if you can't sing?
Wrinkles, elephants have wrinkles. It's just the tune. It's literally repetitive, but it's just elephants have wrinkles. Put it in YouTube.
Is it as
and
annoying as
it'll be in
Baby
your head
Shark?
all day long?
I'm curious.
Elephants have wrinkles. I need to get on to some questions because literally we've been rambling for almost an hour. But I know some other people had some questions as well. Like I said about Podcast 96, if anyone wants to come on and talk about anything, let me know. I've got these two lovely guests today. Anything you want to talk about, I'm going to put it to Andy a bit later on, but maybe if we can get the rights, maybe put some music on the on the podcast. I don't know, game shows, any ideas that people have if they want to be a part of it, let me or Andy know. And I really want to get this running because especially when people are not feeling connected to everybody else at the minute, I think it's really good. But questions
Even
anyway.
as well,
sorry,
just an idea. Sorry, Reese knows that I love the song that he wrote called "You'll Be Fine," which is a hilarious comedy song about what the MOs are like in the army. If you could record that and put it as a video, could we post it on the Facebook page, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely can record it and I'll send it, and then yeah, definitely we can do that.
Awesome.
Anything anybody watching wants to advertise, even if they don't want to come live on the podcast. If they've got something they want to advertise, whether it's a charity, something they love, a dance, a routine, a stand-up comedy, send it in a video and we'll put it on the podcast so people can see it. I know today a lot of people have been sharing the podcast, and just keep sharing it because I just want to encourage people to talk about things they love doing, things they're passionate about. Right. Obviously, us three are massive on entertainment. Gary, I challenge Reese to draw
a
Can
goatee
you
on
read
his
it?
own face without a mirror in pen. I don't have a pen on me, Gary. I actually don't have one on me. I'm outside.
Only
I'm
See,
outside
Gary.
if I was any
now.
good a magician, I could grab one of my Sharpies and just pass it through the phone to you. That'd be a good trick.
On your magic stuff, I think a good question to start with was one of Vicky's questions. Your favorite magic trick that you've seen and your favorite magic trick you perform, and can you perform it?
Ooh, there's so many. I mean, obviously, Penn and Teller Fool Us is a big show at the moment. Started over here, moved over to the Rio in Las Vegas. There's quite a few routines I love, and I love watching again and again. There's one in particular that I like, which is a Scottish duo called Barry and Stewart, who I think their special, The Magic of Jesus, is still on 4OD or whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
But they do a routine, which is the X-ray machine, and they did it on Magicians, which is a BBC series. If anyone didn't see it, they pair up celebrities with magicians, and they do categories like what's the favourite trick you saw as a kid, let's replicate it, and all that sort of thing. And Aid Edmondson from Bottom and the Young Ones, he was on with Barry and Stewart, and they get this woman's phone, put it in a blender, whiz it
Got my
up,
phone.
and then Barry drinks it, and then put it in the X-ray machine, and Stewart actually goes through Barry to try and retrieve it, like punches through his stomach and all this. That's a really great routine. My favourite trick I like to perform, I think anything card-based, because card magic, the history of it is so fascinating, and plus it's the easiest thing to carry around with you. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, there's so many card routines that I love.
Can you do something for
Yeah,
us
I
now?
think-
Maybe if someone I don't know, someone comments or anything, could you do something for us now?
Yeah, let me just find a deck of cards. Hang on.
Let's have a look. He's got to have a deck of cards. If he can pull a magic colouring book
Yeah, he has too many
out of
deck
his
of
pocket,
cards.
just
One
like
of-
that, he's got.
He like every time I went out with him in London, he buys a deck of cards. It's like
Oh, the deck of cards is always good.
I like
Here
his
we go.
black deck.
This is
It's
actually
like,
it's my favourite deck. I got this when I was with you, Reese, in Camden, didn't I? This is the Black Tiger deck. How sexy.
it's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that deck. It is a beautiful deck.
It's lovely. In fact, before I show you this trick, let me just say there's quite a few shuffles in Magic. I don't know if you guys knew this. There's the classic one, which is this. This is what everybody does to shuffle cards. This is called an overhand shuffle, right? Because one hand goes over the other to shuffle the cards, okay? There's this one that I do, which is called a bridge shuffle. Over to you guys. Why is it called a bridge shuffle?
Because it looks like a bridge.
Because it looks like a bridge, absolutely. There's this one. This is the Texas shuffle. Over to you guys. Why is this called the Texas shuffle?
It's from Texas.
No, because it takes us so long to do.
Oh, you step right
in
into that
Leicester-
one, Jordan.
In Leicester, they've got their own shuffle. Why is this known as the Leicester shuffle?
I know this one because it's Leicester Shuffle.
Because there's Leicester shuffle. Anyway, let's see if we can do this. Okay, I'm just thinking with the camera angle, this might be a bit weird, but I'll do my best. Oh, that's not too bad. You can see that. If I put a card down there, you can. Okay, we'll see how this works. Oh. Okay, do me a favour. Either one of you, just say stop any way you like.
Stop.
Yeah, before I get to the end would be good, guys. Just say stop before I get to the end. That'd be amazing. I haven't started yet, you moron.
Stop.
There? Okay, I heard stop there. So we'll take this card here, okay, which is the four of diamonds, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to take the four of diamonds, okay, and we're going to put it sort of about halfway in, okay? There's halfway in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave your card, the four of diamonds, sticking out so that we can all see it, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that four of diamonds into the deck about sort of there, right? Watch it go to the very, very end. Watch, 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 watch. There you go.
What? How did it do?
What?
What?
That
It
was a bit
there.
weird. I had to sort of look at that. Weirdly though, you didn't actually stop me on the four of diamonds, Reese, because the four of diamonds, if you watch, doesn't. Oh, what's the camera angle here? It doesn't exist except in your own imagination.
Pat, what the? Oh my god!
I like
So there's a
that.
little bit of magic there.
I like that. That's so cool.
That's
I mean,
insane. Wow.
You're absolutely
I'll tell you
spot
what,
on.
actually,
Yeah, round of applause. Well done.
something we were talking about. Thank you. Something we were talking about with teaching magic. Do you know, honestly, the question I get asked the most of how do you do this?
Go on.
Because a lot of people say, how do you do that? But honestly, the question I get asked the most is how I do this shuffle. That's the question I get asked the most. And obviously, I can teach people because it's just a shuffle. What you do, cut the deck in half as evenly as you possibly can. Use a table to start with, but just overlap the cards like that, about a centimetre, but do it square on. Don't do it at an angle like that, like a lot of people tend to do. Straight on. If you can do one, whatever. Once you get to there, just hold everything, bend it, keep a lot of pressure, and then once you move your hands out like that, the cards will naturally cascade. There's a couple of tips for you there, if you want to learn that shuffle.
There you go. Thank you very much.
There you go.
I'm going to have a little practice later and see if I can do it.
We just had a little message from Andy saying. Sorry, we just had a little message from Andy saying there's a 30-second delay. So if I do ask people to ask questions, we'll just have to wait about 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I think you were spot on with the cards. They're just so easy to do, and you can take them anywhere. My brother Jack, he loves to perform card tricks. But how, in terms of younger people that want to get into magic, what would you say to them? Like, what inspired you to do the magic, and what would you say to the younger people that would love to do magic?
Again, I mean, I've had this on parks before where kids, they come up and ask me, how do you do this? How do you do this? And maybe because I do it, I can kind of tell, and this goes for adults as well, I can tell when they're asking because they just want to know how it's done or because they want to perform it themselves. And I had a great kid when I worked in the park in Devon. He was like, he saw me do the magic in kids' time and all that. And he was like, how do you do it? Because I'm really intrigued in trying to learn this. So I taught him a couple of card tricks that I do. And I actually gave him one of my decks of cards because I was like, the cards that you've got, no offense, mate, they're naff. You want the bicycle cards, the branded bicycle card because they're the best quality. All magicians over the world use them. So I gave him one of my decks. He came back on holiday to the same park about 3 months later. And he was proper excited and said, Paddy, remember that trick you showed me? Watch this. And he performed it perfectly. That, for me, is what makes the job so worthwhile. But to get into it, honestly, a great place to learn, and I swear to God, YouTube. Just go onto YouTube and search card trick tutorial, and loads of videos come up. Grab a deck of cards and learn. Literally. If you're a bit dexterous, like if you play the piano, like Rhys or anything like that, or you can juggle or anything, so you're quite good with your hands, that obviously helps. But again, there's videos on there right from beginner level to advanced. Also, I would recommend magicshop.co.uk. That's the website for the Merchant of Magic. They are liars.
The liars.
They are liars. They will say to you, yep, we've shipped off your package. It'll be there within 3 to 5 days. Crap, it's there within 2. So it's a good lie.
Oh, but, okay. That's
there you go. You know, I mean, we got Andy behind. Go on.
They started doing it years ago when I bought something around Christmas time, and in with my tricks, they just bunged in a free bag of Haribo. That's now a thing with every order. They just bung you in some free sweets as well, so they're really cool.
Awesome, man. I mean, we've got Andy behind the scenes who he's a magician as well. So
very good one as well.
Anything he wants to pop up on anything to do with magic, he's more than welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I think I'd advise anybody to get into magic. I think it's brilliant for people.
And again, I think for me personally as well, comedy definitely has a place in magic, like that shuffle thing I did at the beginning. It's not funny. It's rubbish. But, it's just like, even if it's mildly amusing, it relaxes people a bit because obviously laughter induces dopamine and endorphins, which are the happy chemicals. So once you tell a joke, someone's laugh, they'll relax into it, they'll watch you perform it, and it just makes it more of a show, I think.
Yeah. I think as entertainers, you'd have both had it, but the first time you're on stage and you can make not so much the kids, but the audience, maybe more adults laugh, I think that sort of pushes you to want to do it more. The first time you get that reaction, whether you're singing a song, doing a dance, performing a magic trick, performing a light show, or just telling a joke, if you get a reaction, I think that is massive for an entertainer's career, because I think it can just push them to keep doing it.
Sometimes as well, it doesn't even come from you, because genuine story. This is from Coghurst Hall last year. This is a kids say the darndest things kind of story. I was doing a game show in Coghurst Hall. I think it was Go Fetch, and I was chatting to this bloke, and his 10-year-old kid from the back just shouted something out that I had no comeback for, because it was just too funny on its own. Like, I can't remember his name or where he was from, but whenever I do a game show, it's always like, what's your name, where you from, what do you do? So I was talking to this bloke, it was something like, oh, Charlie, where you from, Charlie? Manchester, what do you do? He said, I'm a courier. Genuinely true story. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was trying to do a follow-up question. I was like, so what's the kind of weirdest or craziest thing you've ever had to deliver? And his 10-year-old kid from the back of the room just went, me. like that.
Oh my
Which
word.
Obviously you've got to try and have a comeback for this, but I didn't. I just walked over to that kid, gave him a high five, and was like, fair play, I can't beat that. That is just amazing. And the whole room just erupted. It was so good.
That is brilliant.
Oh,
that's
amazing.
Brilliant.
Kids can say anything on stage. That's the thing. That's me. It's chaos when you have kids on stage. It's like anything can happen. But there was one time where a park I worked at where I was doing kids time, and I like to do a get your own back when you're grown ups. That's one of my favourite things to do on stage.
Nice.
And what I did was I usually ask the kid, why do you want to get your own back when you're grown ups? One time I did regret asking. There was this 10-year-old boy, and I put the microphone to him, and I said to him, why do you want to get your own back on your dad? He seems a really nice guy. And the kid said on the microphone, he left mum.
Nice.
And I was like, why?
Wow.
Did he leave your mum in a supermarket? And the kid went on and said, no, he was caught in bed sleeping with another. And I sort of pulled the microphone away. I was like, okay, before we go into the Jeremy Cole show here, let's just get your dad on stage and we can deal with this properly.
Wow.
It was
brilliant.
And it was so, and everybody was just like, oh my God, I can't believe the kid said that. And I was just like, help me out here. Oh my God. But,
that's amazing.
But
what we got from Andy here. Sorry, Rhys. Andy here. If anybody wants to learn a magic or knows someone who does, comment abracadabra. Can everybody see that? Can everybody read that?
Yeah. I'll use a random selection at the end of the stream, and I'll give away 2 bags of bicycle cards to one lucky person. Brilliant.
Ooh. I mean, I've got a question coming up soon. Thank you, Andy. I've got a question coming up soon. Obviously, you two can't answer it. Everybody that gets it correct will be put into like a little lucky draw, and we'll pick out the winner, and they'll win a prize. Andy said he's got some prizes. But before we do that, I've got loads more questions for you, Paddy, and I've got loads of questions for Rhys. We're approaching an hour already.
Cool.
Rhys, I wanted to where am I? I thought an appropriate question for you.
Okay.
Rhys, to start off with, where do a lot of your ideas come from? Like the things you do on stage, are they a spare?
Sorry, Jordan.
Can
I just interrupt you a sec, Jordan?
Go for it.
I'm just going to go for a break.
Not a problem.
So if you want to put me backstage, Andy, I'll let you talk to Rhys.
Not a problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, Rhys. Some of the things you come out with, or some of the things you do, where does it come from? Is it a spare of the moment thing? Like, do you plan what you're gonna do?
It's a healthy mixture, I will be honest. It's like some of it is spare of a moment. I mean, I'm not the most quick thinking of people, but is that there are just times where like the moment's right and my mind just like clicks. But sometimes most of the things I do is planned. Most of the craziness I do is planned. I actually have a lot of crazy stuff planned. It's just some of it I use, some of it I don't, some of it I'll keep for another day. But there's been a few times where things have just been spare of the moment. I mean, one example that I will say. I'll give it. This is a really funny story. This is my most embarrassing moment on stage. I'm about to reveal my most embarrassing moment ever. This is where I had to use quick thinking to the max. I was working at a park, and my entertainment manager, got a package through. And she went in the office and says, "I don't want to be disturbed. Can you please not come into the office while I'm dealing with this package?" And me and the other entertainer was like, "Yeah, sure. We'll just do kids' time. We won't bother." So this was in the morning, and it was end of season. So the cleaners came in and they said, "Oh, do you want us to do your office? We can do that for you and clean up for you." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So we came back later in the evening. And the manager was in a panic saying, "My package is missing. I don't know where my package is gone." And I was like, "Well, what's the package?" "Oh, I can't tell you what it is." "Okay, what's the box look like?" "Oh, took it out of the box." And I was like, "For God's sake, what is in the box?" And she was like, I just went, "Spit it out." And she was like, "Oh, it's my new vibrator." And I was like, "Oh God, we've got to find it." So I looked everywhere. I looked behind the star cloth. I looked behind the DJ desk. I turned the office inside out, despite what the cleaners did. We couldn't find it. So I went to her. "Don't worry, we'll calm down. This is a plan. I've got a plan. We'll go through the entertainment evening, and when it comes to late night disco, you go on disco duties, and we'll ask around just to save you any embarrassment." Solid plan, I thought. Oh, we found it all right, and it didn't take us that long either. 8:30, I was hosting Kids Prize Bingo, and this lovely little girl won Full House. She came up on stage. I made a fuss of them, as you usually do, and I said to her, "You see that prize bucket over there? Put your hand in the prize bucket, and the first thing you get out of that prize bucket will be your prize for this evening." I didn't know what it was. She pulled out of the bucket, but then when it flopped, I kind of clicked what it was, and I had to say that it was a practice microphone from Seminar because it was black and cylindrical. That was the first thing that came to my head, and I was it was the adrenaline that was rushing through me. I just I handled it well. It was like, "Okay, I'm going to put this back in the office where it belongs, and I'm going to hand you over to this entertainer." And I just shoved a microphone at her, went, "Deal with it." And I just collapsed in the office with her vibrator in hand. And I was just like, what has just happened? What the hell has just happened? Thank God it didn't end up on TripAdvisor or otherwise.
That story is brilliant, and thank you for not mentioning where it was and who it was. I should probably say now that this podcast will probably be uncensored. So if any stories do offend anyone, I have to apologise. But as you were telling that story, it dawned on me that my nan is watching this podcast.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
My story.
Andy's put a message in the chat saying we got some questions piling up from people. So when Paddy comes back, we'll get on to the questions. Thank you for sending your questions in, guys. They won't be ignored. We will answer every single question, and we will be giving away some prizes as well. While we're waiting for Paddy, though, wrestling. You've got into wrestling. You went to your first training session with me. I was anemic at the time when we went wrestling, so it didn't really work out for me last year. When we were running around the block, I was absolutely I was breathless halfway around the block, and you'd already got back to the hall, and you'd done 4 laps, and there was me trying to get back, and I've got my knee pads on and elbow pads. But yeah, you've carried on with the wrestling. You've said you've almost got a character. I know you've been doing a lot of hello, Paddy. You've been doing a lot of training sessions. So tell us, how's it been going?
It's been really good. I bought myself a crash mat, so I've been nailing my basics, my bumps, like my front bump, my rear bump, my flip bump. I know how to run the ropes, even though I did break the top rope last session. And I've also know how to do my grappling 1 to 12s and stuff like that. So I've been going through that, and I've taken a couple of moves here and there as well. And it's I'm absolutely loving it. It is actually it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. It's like, but this is the thing. I find the easy stuff hard and the hard stuff easy. It's like, you know, I can do a flip bump really easily, but anything like, you know, really basic, I do struggle with. I have to do a couple of times over, but it was like a flip bump I did straight away. Like it was no problem. But
Definitely. I think I'm really glad you did wrestling because obviously a lot of people do know that it's scripted, you know, it's kayfabe, but it is scripted. But a lot of people say that it's fake. Now,
no, it isn't.
I want to clear
hurts.
that up a bit because if you can imagine landing on the base of your back, and I know me, you, and Andy have all done this. If you can imagine landing on the base of your back with your arms out flat, it hurts. It hurts the next day like a mother. It hurts, and it hurts your neck. And
Mother Hubbard.
You know, I did wrestling for a couple of years with a company called Falling Star in Norfolk, and soon realised it wasn't for, as much as I love wrestling, it wasn't for me. But the knowledge I have for wrestling, I can say that, you know, that it's not boxing, it's not UFC or MMA, but it does hurt. And I know wrestling has a really tight community of people. You know, there's heels and there's baby faces, there's good guys and there's bad guys in anything. Like whether you're reading a book, watching a film, you've got an antagonist, and you've got a good guy and you've got a bad guy. In life, you've got a good guy and a bad guy, and it's just storytelling, and it's a lot of athletic theatre, I like to call it. But in wrestling, I think even when you're doing an entrance, you'll know if the audience are going to respond to you within the first 5 seconds of you walking towards the ring. There's a lot of psychology in wrestling, especially people that are doing it in front of cameras. But I think people that love it, really love it. It's like Marmite wrestling. People that love it, and I've loved it since the age of 5. It's just been everything to me. And if, you know, one day I'm planning to go...
For me personally... Sorry, go on.
Go on, mate.
No, I was just saying, for me personally, I get it, but I'd rather see it live than watching it on TV, because it's like, again, it's like the hype of the crowd. Like when we had it on Park, when I worked at Riverside, there was a great company, I forget their name now.
4GW?
But it's run by a guy called Andy... no, it's a guy called Andy Boy Simmons. He's the one that runs it. He's actually a personal trainer by day, but he does this as a little sideline. And we used to do this thing, Wrestling Academy. It's like a crash mat, literally about 6 inches thick, and he'd like body slam the kids and then get the kids involved with the clothesline, which is that thing, and you run it, and the bad guy comes out, and he's not as bad as he is in the ring. He's just a bit obnoxious and whatever, you know, just to roll the kids up, and to get the kids involved with that is really cool. But yeah, like you say, it's the theatrical, it's learning how to fall.
Definitely, and it is
very much physical theatre.
It is athletic theatre and physical theatre. But when, you know, they've got some of the best athletes in the world in wrestling. I know you watch Summit Reese, and, you know, I'm a big WWE, AEW fan, but I think wrestling is one of them things. Like entertainment, it's very close knit. A lot of everybody knows everybody. I remember I was at Martello visiting Beth last year, and they had a trial for the wrestling company that Park Holidays have gone with this year. And when wrestling comes to a holiday park, everyone gets so excited. But they had this wrestling company, and they had Johnny Storm, and 3 years ago he was doing training with me. It's like everybody knows everybody. It's really close knit, like entertainment, and it's a very tight community, wrestling. But like I said, it's like Marmite. Some people love it, some people hate it. But for you, Rhys, I think
fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Definitely, I think it's brilliant that you're doing it, Rhys. Keep doing it. I'm glad that you've backed me up in saying it does hurt. Anybody that does think it's fake, go into a wrestling ring and land on your back, and then tell me the next morning it's fake. Andy, I fell out of a wrestling ring once and nearly broke my neck. Exactly. And to this day, my neck here is because of wrestling. That's why I had to give it up, because I was taking back bumps after back bumps, and I have so much passion for it. But there's a time where you've got to put your health first. But Jesus, man, that took it out of me. But I love wrestling. So thanks for that, Rhys. We got Paddy back. Andy said we've got some questions building up. So if we could have some questions, I know
Yeah, let's answer
a lot
them.
of people have some
Yes,
questions.
go
I've
for
got
it.
loads more. I've got loads more questions for you guys. I don't want to keep you, but I've got loads of questions for you.
That's fine. That's fine. I've still got.
It's
Loads
not like
of
we've got
time,
anything
so.
to do.
Exactly.
I've only got because for the community for lockdown, I'm going around doing my light shows to people in front of their houses. So I'm
That's
using my
fine.
nightly exercise at the moment to
We'll get
bring
onto
joy
that.
to my community. So
Joy Quaif, are you free going to do a challenge?
That's an idea.
I mean, if some people want to put in the comments, drop us some challenges, and we can pick one maybe to do as a free. I don't know when the three of us will next be together, or we can do it separately.
Next
we
week,
can do it in
maybe.
lockdown.
Let's do this again.
yeah, let's do this again next week. It's awesome talk.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We can do a challenge if you want to set us a challenge. That's my nan, by the way, Joy Quaif, and I'm sure she heard your lovely story, Rhys.
Hi, Joy.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if it offended you, Joy.
It won't offend her. It will not offend her. I promise you. We'll do a challenge. We'll do a challenge. Definitely. Any more questions? Carly, hi all. Hope you're staying safe. Question:
Hi, Carly.
What is your favourite location you've ever worked?
That's difficult. That is difficult.
I think I can answer this straight away.
Go on.
What is it?
Devon. Just because I think that's mainly my love of cream teas, and anyone who's ever been to Devon, you'll know. Pub, cafe, doesn't matter where you go, cream teas are everywhere. So yeah,
I'm in Devon right
it's
now.
beautiful
By the way,
countryside as
I'm
well.
in Plymouth. So
amazing. Well, then you know what I mean. Devon's just a lovely county. So for me, it's Devon.
I like Devon.
I've
What
got
about
mine.
you, Rhys?
Harlan Sands. No, I'm joking.
To be fair, do you know what? But obviously, I'm so happy I'm with Park Holidays now. We laugh. I'm with Park Holidays now, but do you know what? Harlan Sands is so responsible of where I am today. Without them, they're they're an absolutely brilliant park. But
Harlan
that
Sands is an
location,
awesome park. Don't get me wrong. It is an awesome
that
park.
beach was right on the doorstep. That is the most beautiful place I have ever, and I will probably ever work in my life. It was near Padstow, Newquay. Oh my God, literally, you'd leave a caravan, you'd go down this walkway, and you'd have the most amazing beach in the world. And the owners there were fantastic, honestly. Some of the probably hands down the best owners I've ever met, and some of them I'm still friends with today. And the staff, I love them. And the family that runs Harlan, I ain't got a bad word to say against them. I think it's a brilliant place. But for me, I had to move on from Harlan Sounds to really climb the ladder of entertainment. So, but yeah, they're your favourite places.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Any more questions? Joy, what is your favourite dance on stage?
Juicy Wiggle.
Ooh.
Hands down. Juicy Wiggle. Love it.
Go on, Paddy.
See, I love party dances, so all of them. If I had to pick, I'm very classic with my party dances. Like I'm still very much the kind of black lace, all the classic. Because for me, I don't know what you guys think, but party dances these days, it just seems like someone's taken a song out of the chart and just put a routine to it. Like it's not like they used to be. Do you know what I mean? But I'd have to say the old campfire, just because it's a classic and it's so funny.
Yeah,
it's one of the first ones I've learned.
Camp. Is that okay to do in this day and age?
Do you know what I was about to say? And that goes back to holiday parks changing so much, because I think for me, if I did the old campfire now, it would probably offend a few people. 20 years ago, people doing the old campfire, everybody loved it. But old campfire for me, it's brilliant. It really is brilliant. And if you can host it in the right way.
Not that I want to get into it, but I know years ago with everything that kicked off, Court of King Caractacus, Rolf Harris, we can't do that anymore for obvious reasons. I don't need to say why. But that was that. And I was just thinking, because we were going through this at Martello at the beginning of the season, like rice and curry. Because people are so... I don't want to be horrible when I say this, but political correctness gone mad. But the campfire thing, it's just it's a. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, I walk around like that all the time.
It's not really.
I'm heterosexual on campus Christmas. It doesn't matter. No.
I think it's really ironic that anybody, males, I've got this so much. Anybody that is an entertainer male, a lot of people automatically think that you're gay, and
What's wrong with being gay?
I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with being gay, and I've got so many friends that are gay, and I think any sex people they should do. But as soon as you do a dance that is the old campfire, people start getting funny, and it's very odd that people have this stereotypical idea of what an entertainer is. But as soon as you do the old campfire, people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't really be doing that." But it doesn't matter what you are, what sex you are, what religion you are. At the end of the day, I know people are going to get offended, but it's 2020.
But it's the same thing with Nathan on my team. He's gay. So if me and him did that dance on stage and someone decided to have a go, then he could turn and be like, "Well, I'm gay. What are you saying?" You know what I mean? Exactly. If it doesn't upset him, offence. I don't want to go on about this, but offence 9 times out of 10. People who are offended, they're not offended. They're offended on behalf of someone else. Jay McGee is a fantastic entertainer. He does the cruise ships now. On his DVD, which I've got, he's only ever had one complaint of doing something offensive, which is he used to do this gag, which was the Irish bank robber. Right? He put on a balaclava where the whole face was cut out and just did a gun sign. It's like, "Give us your money." That was the gag. Right? And some woman came up to him after the show and was just like, "I'm with my mate. She's Irish. I found that very offensive." He turned around and was like, "What did your mate think?" She was like, "Oh, she thought it was hilarious, but that's not the point." And he said, "No, that is the point," and just walked off. 9 times out of 10, they're offended on behalf of someone else. It's so true.
Yeah. I think, I don't want to get into it too much because I've said no negativity on this, but it's not negativity, and it is something really important to address. I think, this is the idea of people talking and people getting out there, and I think today everybody should be celebrated. Some of my best friends
absolutely
are gay and lesbian and asexual and pansexual. It really, really does not matter. But I just think as long as people are happy, who cares?
Be who you want to be, do what you want to do. As long as we're all nice to each other, who cares?
Yeah,
exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly how it should be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Any more questions, Andy?
Yeah, let's get another question in.
Let's do some. Yeah.
Right.
Rhys, Barbara. Rhys,
good question.
I do have
not.
Yeah, because we all know how that ended, didn't we, Jordan?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, because for people who don't know, we did a special Halloween project at Steeple Bay last season. What we did was we did a video series on our page called Who Stone Park Star Rhys. So it was a murder mystery. And we just had like these little couple of minute episodes where we had a load of suspects and we revealed at the end who did it. But at the end, we had to do something special. Now, I wanted to slime Parkstar Jordan so badly during the season. But he's not one that likes to get messy. And it took a lot of planning. I had to think, how am I going to get him? I need to do it so it makes sense. I just can't do it out of the blue. It has to be like elaborate. So what I did was I created a story where I get slimed and it's slime. But at the end, we did a live finale. We showed the finale big on our LED screen about who did it. It turned out to be Silver Squirrel who slimed me. But it turned out that Jordan was going to slime me, but Cyril stole the bucket. And then I watched it on the screen as Jordan revealed his intentions. And then it turned into a live performance where I got Jordan on stage. And it's like, oh, so you made the slime. Oh, you did a really good job, but you can do a little bit better. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. And I got him secured into a paddling pool and I just put a bucket over his head. It was awesome.
It was.
So
it
sorry,
was
just because you wanted to slime
clever.
someone, Rhys, just because you wanted to slime someone, you made up a whole, let's call it a TV series. There was about 6 episodes of this, and you couldn't have just say...
It was 10, actually.
waited.
10.
waited outside his caravan with a bucket of slime and
Oh
just
no, he lived
TikToked
with
it
me.
and just lobbed
He
it
lived
out.
with me.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what? There were some days that I just wanted to, after work, I just wanted to sit and have a game of FIFA. And Rhys would knock on my door. Would you like to do some filming? I said, yeah. What do you want to do? He said, well, I need to get in your bed. I went. I thought, Rhys,
What video were
I
you
work
guys
with you and I
making?
live with you, but there comes a time.
It was
Any more questions?
it was really lovely. If you're gonna do it in style. That's what I'm gonna say.
Gary Tustin, what park
Oh,
would you never
Gary.
go back to? Before we answer that, I don't want any negativity towards parks because
No.
every park that I've worked for, I'm fully grateful that I've worked at. And for me, there's not a park I wouldn't go back to. I would happily go back to Harlem because of the people there. I would happily go back to Steeple. I would happily go back, maybe not Steeple because of the roads, and I could never get to a shopping centre without booking a taxi. But I love the people at Steeple. I'd go back to St. Joseph, and I'm waiting to go back to Coghurst. So,
Jordan,
hello.
just before I answer this question, I actually didn't answer Barbara's question, so I'm going to answer Barbara's question. Yes, I am going to do a follow-up. I've got a few ideas in the pipeline, but they're in the planning stages at the moment. But definitely something. There'll be a follow-up of some kind, so keep your eyes peeled. And to answer that question, which park I'll never return to, I'm just going to say it in one sentence. I'm not going to explain. Marley, because they didn't get me there. That's what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, you can't please everyone, and Marley was a difficult part for me. So that's the park I want to return to.
I mean, mine's kind of similar to your reasons, Jordan. I wouldn't go back to the hotel where me and Rhys met at because it is in the arse end of nowhere. If you want to get anything like from a shop, you have to do online delivery. There's no other way to do it unless you want to get a bus into Barnstable, which is the nearest place, which is fine. But because it's, again, literally in the middle of nowhere, the bus times are so erratic, and it's like if you don't get on the bus in Barnstable to get back by like 5, you've missed it. Yeah. So
a lot of it,
it's so out of the way. That's the reason. It was a great hotel. The staff are amazing. It's just the location. There is also another park I wouldn't go back to, and I'm not going to say the name of it, and I'm not going to say why because I don't want to publicise them. It's that simple.
That's
they treated me so bad.
And I think a lot of it,
I don't want to give them publicity.
A lot of parks, all the parks I've worked at have fantastic owners. But like Andy's just said, he said, I'll rephrase it. Is there a park you wouldn't go back to because you feel like you've achieved everything you possibly can? Then for me, that would be Harlem. I started my career at Harlem. Thoroughly enjoyed my time at Harlem. I made the best friends at Harlem. But for me, I feel like I got to that point because it's a private park. I wasn't going to get any higher, and I thought to climb this ladder of entertainment, which I've always wanted to do, I need to go and join a company. And now I think I'm with, the best company I can be in the UK. Definitely. I think they are. I think the way we're looked after, all three of us have worked for them. I think the way we're looked after by the regionals, I think they are the best company in the UK to work for, and I don't regret it. And I've gone to a company and I've worked my way up to events manager. So for me, it's that reason alone that I can go back to Harlem because I feel like I've done everything.
And again, very well deserved in my opinion, Jordan.
Yep.
Thank you, mate.
Seconded.
What about you two?
I would say Woodford Bridge Diamond Resorts because that was the first park I went to. I went there straight after the army. There was no break, and even though I was hobbling around most of the time because my leg was in a bad way, I basically reinvented like the entertainment completely because my predecessor, the entertainment was very it wasn't very showy. It was very activity based, but I was more of a showy person, and they didn't really have that. So I kind of reinvented, and it took off. I got a lot of really good reviews from that park, and it got to a point where, as a one-man show, I couldn't do any more there. So I really enjoyed. There was a lovely location. It was lovely staff members. I even did
the Peacocks.
The Peacocks. There were loads, and the leisure centre
wandering around like, oh, it's lovely.
And Paddy, you got to agree. The leisure centre manager Andy, rest in peace. God bless him. Yeah, he was a legend, an absolute legend. Because me and him, we did a duet. We did "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins, and he dressed up as a gorilla and went on the drum kit. It was brilliant. It was like he was awesome. So that's what I'll say. Woodford, I basically did all I could there.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. What about you, Paddy?
And again, just go back to that, like the formula you put in place, Rhys, I carried on going. And it is a great formula you put in place, definitely. Although I did change one thing, because we were told we could have 2 days off a week. I thought, well, no, I'm used to only having 1 day. That's what I'm doing. But hang on. I would say Disneyland Paris, just because, and I've got to be very careful what I say here. I started at a level there and progressed up to being the parade, High School Musical show. When I say that, I was just playing basketball on the float for half an hour. That was it. Really good. No, genuinely, but this is not a thing about Disney, didn't they? To practice for that, because I haven't played basketball since school. So what they did was they gave us 2 hoops, put it in one of the dance studios, and so we could just literally have a, muck about. We started a league, and we got people to come up with teams. So like when everything kind of shut down around 6 o'clock in the evening, we'd be there having competitions and stuff. It was really, really cool. But yeah, I got to the point of the only place I could go further than that was to go into management. And I just didn't, being 17, 18 at the time, I was just like, okay, do I want to be manager on a park of that size? No, I don't. I mean, I probably would now, but at the same time, it's still, because Disney is a big name, and you've got to get everything right, because their attention to detail is like, incredible. And they really look after you as well. So yeah, I would, but I wouldn't, because the level I got to, I was just like, anything like that in management, to be managing in Disney, I was just like, nah. I think to do a bit more.
I think it's good not to rush into things. When I had my original audition with Park Holidays, they said, even though I'd done 4 years at Harlem, they said, are you auditioning for manager? I said, I can't audition for manager, because although that would be brilliant, I've only ever done a private park. I need to learn the company way. So I knew I needed 2 or 3 years before I even tried to go for manager. So I do agree with you there. It's best sometimes to not rush into things that that you're not ready for. So
I mean, it was a bit different for me, because obviously being 32 this year, if we're doing the age thing, like when I joined Park Holidays last year, I actually applied to be at I think it was Silent Breezes, actually, because that's the advert I saw. And then our regional called me up and was like, how do you fancy manager at this place? And I was just like, well, like you, ideally, I'd like to do a season, not being just so I can learn the company, learn the ways and everything else. But
yeah,
because, Coghurst the 2-man, I was just like, well, that's cool. Yeah, I'll just go in straight away, boom, done. But it's definitely a personal choice, I think. When you're ready. Only when you're ready. Like, our regionals could say to us, I think you're ready to do show park. Like, if you don't think you are, say. And they will listen to you. Which, like you say, is the great thing about this company.
Yeah, definitely, man. Andy, you've said we're nearly at 1.5 hours. What does that mean? Does that mean we gotta wrap it up, or what does that mean? Do we need a toilet break?
I'm
just waiting to see. Just waiting to see what Andy.
I'm enjoying this is really good.
Yeah, have we got any more questions?
I'm just going to see what Andy puts. What he's meaning about this 1.5 hours.
Favorite visiting cabaret.
I knew that question would come up.
Oh, that's difficult.
Can I change that question? because I knew this had come up, and if you guys are anything like I think you are, I think we need to change that to a top three because I can't name just one. I'd have to have a top three.
I've got a. Yeah, I think I've got a top three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
We'll start with Rhys. Go for it, Rhys.
Right, Elliot Frisbee, really nice singer, good guitar player, such a pleasure to talk to, and he's given me a lot of advice on my own show and stuff, and I've taken on board. 2, Ryan Higgins, brilliant. Ryan Higgins is one of the most. I love his cabarets. It was like one of the first cabarets that I ever saw that I was like, wow, he was insane. I mean, he's a really good singer, but his personality is just, and he's like me in a way where he like climbs on tables, like he really like gets nice up and close and personal with the crowds and stuff. And he inspired me, like, Ryan Higgins is one of my inspirations. And 3rd, I love a Basil Brush show. Hands down, I can't.
Good shout.
Yeah, I love a Basil Brush show because I grew up with Basil Brush as a child, and when he visited, I was just in awe. I was awestruck. I felt like I was a child again, and now now I'm in contact like with the guy who does it on a regular basis. I'm just like, oh my word, I can't believe it. So yeah,
just on them three, I think Elliot Frisbee, I'm sure we was meant to have at Coghurst before we closed. Basil Brush, I love. And I think Ryan is just one of them where Ryan can just walk into a room and everybody is happy. And he's got that energy about him where he just brings happiness. What about you, Paddy? Top three?
I mean, Rhys, you say you're similar to Ryan, but you don't dance them, do you, babes? No, I don't think you do. Anyway.
Oh, God.
If he sees that, I'm going to be in trouble. No, I'd say top three in no particular order. Obviously, there's a magic act in there. Carl and Dave, Carl Charlesworth and Dave Allen. They do a show. Carl and Dave, they're actually Edinburgh Fringe award winning. They mix comedy and magic together so well. Again, if you go on YouTube, search Carl and Dave, find the lady. The really do that is so funny, absolutely incredible. Second one I'd say is a band called Boomin'. They're a 3-piece, and they've done their own original songs and everything else as well, but they're billed as a party band. And I remember the first time I ever saw them, I was working in a park in Wales, and they were like, okay, we'd like to do this thing before we go on. Like, have you guys got any requests? Making them as stupid as you want, and we'll see if we can do it, because they're very, very skilled. They can just play anything. And I was like, well, what kind of stuff do you do? And they're like, well, obviously Bon Jovi, things like that. We do SpongeBob theme as a laugh. I was like, what, so you do TV things? They were like, yeah, we can give it a go. I was like, right, Only Fools and Horses. Do that. And they did the one at the end of each episode. We've got some half-price crack, some miles and miles of coke. They did that first, and then segued it into the opening song. And now every time I see them, I request it because they remember me. And it's just, it's so funny. And then I'd say, for the third one, Noel Brody. Comedian, absolutely brilliant. And I found this with a lot of parts I've worked with on over the years. It seems like you don't get a lot of comedians anymore. It seems to be just like singer, band. So to have that variety, and Noel Brody is one of the first. I've seen his show more times than I care to remember, so I could quote it word for word. But every time I see it, it's funny because, again, he catches the audience. And I've seen him do rooms where people aren't necessarily into it, but within about 3 minutes, he's turned it around and they're eating at the palm of his hand. He is just amazing. Yeah, that's my top three.
I think for me, for visiting acts, obviously, I've not seen your act, Paddy. And I love Rhys's act, but Rhys has never visited me doing his act. But Rhys is one of my favourite acts of all times. But visiting acts, so I'd probably have to say Michael Brooks was absolutely brilliant. Brilliant singer, Michael Brooks. We were due to have him in May at Coghurst. I really hope we can still see him, and he's absolutely brilliant. And then going back to comedy is something I've always wanted to do, but it's just getting into it and knowing how to get into it. But for me, not only because they're brilliant at what they do, but we had a charity event in our town a couple of years ago to raise money for Great Ormond Street, where I had my heart surgery. And they'd travelled from Devon and Torquay
great charity
to March. Didn't ask for a penny, all for charity. And that's Tank Sherman and Paul Z, absolutely brilliant comedians.
Yep.
Really, really good. And obviously Andy did it as well. Come and visit us. And Andy's another absolutely brilliant show as well. I got to pod or DJ box Andy's performance as well. His cabaret a few times. So yeah, for them four really, Andy, Tank, Paul, and Michael Brooks. Got 2 messages from Andy. I love Michael.
Sorry, was that Tank Sherman?
Tank Sherman, yeah.
Brilliant. Story about Tank, which just proves what a professional he is. He turned up to a park I was working in Devon, and he wasn't well. He literally turned up. He was like, "Oh, I've been a bit dodgy all day." Went out our backstage door, and there's no nice way to say it. Threw up twice, and we were just like, "Look, mate, if you're that ill, don't worry. We can say, no, I'm fine, I'll go on." And adrenaline just took over. He did a full hour, came straight off, went straight out the back door, and did. That is the mark of a professional. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Jordan. These 2 books really helped me.
Okay. I can sort of see them.
Obviously, I was at Coghurst last year. I know the address. I'm going to send them to you. Have a read. They're really good.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, mate.
That's right, mate. No worries.
Andy said that's about it for the questions at the minute. I've got a few more questions for you both. Thank you everybody for sending in your questions. Like I said, if you do want to get involved with Podcast 96, whether it's coming up with ideas, things for charity, whether you want to promote something, advertise something, please let me know. If you want to be on the podcast, let me know. I've had a lot of people that want to be on the podcast. I can already name a few. I know Gary wants to be on it. I'm hoping to have Andy on it. Carly, who was with us at Park Holidays, wants to be on it. Ben wants to be on it, who was with us at Park Holidays last year.
Carly.
I got a few people that want to be on it.
Brilliant.
Chantel might have said she wants to be on it, so I've got a lot of interest there. Even if it's not about the 3 things that are in this fantastic poster, football, wrestling, or entertainment. Obviously, we've based ours around entertainment today. It can be anything. We'll talk about anything. But going back to entertainment, I would like to ask both of you. Paddy, I'll start with you. Your most, obviously we've had yours, Reece, your most embarrassing moment. But probably your funniest or your most proud or your most embarrassing moment on stage or performing.
This is going to be good.
Most proud or most embarrassing?
Go most embarrassing, it's fun, yeah.
We'll go most embarrassing first, because we've had Reece's most embarrassing.
I mean, I can think of a couple, but probably the one that I wasn't expecting was when I accidentally evacuate a venue. What happened? It was I was working for Holborn, actually, down here in New Forest, and it was my birthday. So we had this kind of tradition that we'd, secretly, unbeknown to the other person, we all knew it was going on, but we'd club together and just chuck in a 5 or whatever and get what we could. And it was my birthday. They got me really nice pair of cufflinks, which were the 4 aces in a fan. Really, really nice. And a creative lager. But anyway, what I didn't realise was during the evening, I was doing the kids' time, and it was hosting away, and then Sammy Jo, who was my DJ, she just walked out the room. I was like, where are you going? Still oh, okay, well, she's gone, that's fine. Anyway, coming up next, we've got this, and that, and the other thing. And then she come in with Sammy and Tommy, who were the characters. She was holding a cake, and they were just with the present in the hand and everything else. And I was like, oh, that's really nice, thank you, guys. And bring the cake up on stage, I blow the candles out, and it was then candles that don't actually go out, they reignite themselves. And I, obviously being in the kids time mode, I just pretended I didn't know that's what they were. I was just like, oh, what's going on there? That's why are they not getting? Didn't realise I was stood under a fire sensor. So obviously the smoke from these candles, set off the fire thing, and we had a system in place. It was one of those where it automatically calls the fire brigade, and B, it wasn't an alarm. It was that voice thing. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, please evacuate the venue, or whatever they say. So the only saving grace was the fact of we only had 20 people in, because my birthday's in October, so we were out of season by this point. We were outside for all of 2 minutes and got let back in because we all knew what had caused it. So I was just like, okay. So we went outside, we come back in, but then we were like, the audience didn't care. They thought it was quite funny. What I found quite funny was the fire brigade, obviously, they could see there was nothing going on, but they still had to investigate because that's their job. So 2 firemen walked in, and you've seen a funnier sight because obviously Tommy and Sammy, they didn't have their magic dust, so they weren't capable of speaking, because as we all know, characters need magic dust to speak. So you've never something funnier than a 6-foot seahorse and a 5-foot turtle trying to apologise to the fire brigade without the power of speech. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Love it.
That's good.
Love it.
That's classic. Yeah, I should have taken a photo at least. Oh my word.
So yeah, I've been very,
I've got an embarrassing
very
story,
cautious
but
with candles and stuff ever since.
Oh, definitely. I've got an embarrassing story, but it's definitely not appropriate for this podcast.
Tell us after.
I will tell you after, definitely.
Cool.
Like I said, this podcast is approaching an hour and 45. I don't expect people to watch every second of every minute because we've just been rambling on about random stuff. If you guys are cool, I've still got a few questions for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've still got a bit of time.
We'll focus on the questions. Paddy, I'll come back to you. I've asked, why would you encourage magic? Working abroad. How was that? How did you get into that?
Sorry, is that you a bit blippy?
Working abroad.
Yeah.
How did you get into that, and what was that like? Where have you worked?
Well, I won't say how I got into it. It wasn't really a choice at the time. But essentially, I was working for a park, and there was an incident that happened, which meant I was happy to stay, but my girlfriend at the time, she wasn't. So she decided, because women are always right, aren't they? Let you know we should get a job elsewhere, and we found a job in Gran Canaria, which actually is a lovely place, so nice. And then kind of a taste for the sun, the sea, the sand. That was really good. Amadores Beach in Gran Canaria as well is probably the best beach I've ever been to, because what they've done is they've put in a load of sand underneath, so you can walk for a mile, and it just goes down to about 1 meter in height. Of the water. So it's really nice. But you can get away with a lot more abroad, I found. And I'm not encouraging this or condoning this by any means, but when I worked in Sunny Beach, Bulgaria, it's slowly becoming a new megalith. Everything's cheap. Fags, booze, and women, they're all cheap. Not mine, no. And basically, there are services online that I'm sure people know of where you can take videos from a well-known streaming service and convert them to MP3. Obviously, that's against the law, and you shouldn't be doing that because it's copyright. But in this case, you have something called PRS. Over there, they don't have this. So you see what I mean? You can do a lot more abroad. And also, when I was in Bulgaria, I was DJing. The first show I worked for a hotel, which was the Aqua Nevis Hotel, which is amazing. That backed onto a water park, similar to the one out of The In-Betweeners' second movie, which obviously as staff we got free access to whenever we wanted. So awesome. But then the second year I went out there, I was DJing in a bar on the main strip, and the guy who ran it, a lovely guy called Itzo, my first night there, was like, Paddy, you want beer? I was like, well, maybe in a bit. No, I get you beer. And just literally,
I love it, boy.
I was like, oh, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah, you don't want to be rude, you know what I mean? Drank it, put it down, and then just carried on DJing. By the time I looked round, he filled it again, which obviously over here, you can't do Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. I say are the only times that you can.
Yeah.
In work, but it was, you can get away with so much more abroad. So, I mean, there's also some of the activities. I remember working in Mallorca, and we had, and that was one of the things. But again, looking at it from a British point of view, I was like, right, this line, no one crosses it. So it's using common sense, really.
Yeah.
Working abroad is fun. You got the weather, you've got but as well with the weather, it can go to extremes. Like when we were in Mallorca, we were in Santa Ponza, which is affectionately known as the Irish Quarter, because every bar pretty much is an Irish bar. And I saw some great live music there. But we had a rainstorm, which was like hailstones. I'm not kidding. They were the size of walnuts. So when it changes, it really changes. But yeah, you can get away with a lot more abroad. It's a great learning curve for how to entertain in the UK, because once you've been allowed to get away with anything and everything, you realise that, I did anyway, the fact that it can affect your performance. So to go through it where you're allowed to makes you better, I think, when you come back.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. Cheers, man. I'm going to try and get this wrapped up for 2. I've got a few more questions for you, but to be fair, you've answered a lot of questions without me even having to ask them. I got 2 more questions, and you can both have them, and then I'm going to do the question thing and see if anyone can answer, and see if Andy wants, how Andy's going to give his prizes away. I've literally just written down caravan life. Living in a caravan. I know I lived with Rhys last year in a caravan. On day 1 at the park, I dropped a parcel of medication down the back of the fridge, and Rhys had climbed to the top of the fridge, and he was dangling behind the top of the fridge, and Rhys got stuck behind the fridge for ages. There were sweat marks on the roof, and just some of the things people get up to in caravans. And do you know what? I should have sent some pictures to Andy so we could have had him on this podcast. But just seeing him stuck behind a fridge, dangling behind it with a net, and what's caravan life like for both of you? You know, working in holiday parks is brilliant, but you got to work in a caravan. Some caravans are lovely, some caravans not so much.
Yeah, I gotta say, the caravan that I was in with you was 10 times better than the caravan last year that I was in on the same plot, because that caravan was falling apart. It was almost condemned. I mean,
like
I'm not too fussy where I am, as long as I can sleep. That's fine, and I like it when I'm with people rather than alone, because I'm not a person that likes to be alone very much. I like being with other people, and yeah, I'm really not too fussy. I mean, I've slept in worse places in other jobs, so it's like, you know, I love a caravan. I mean, I live in a caravan at the moment, pretty much on a regular basis. There's a caravan at the back of the house that I'm in front of, and that's where I'm living at the moment. So,
fair dues, man. What about you, Paddy?
Again, I just think, you know, some places charge rent, some people don't. I mean, I know when I was at Butlins, and I swear they got this wrong, but I didn't want to ask questions, because you get a pay slip. All they seem to have taken from me, because we got paid every fortnight, was £7. So I'm like, hang on, about £3.50 a week. Don't question it. You know what I mean? But again, like with Punk, we get it free. So that's brilliant. I just think you make it home. You put your personal touch in, you put your posters on, your photos, you get your TV in there, you get your PlayStation, whatever. I mean, again, like you say, it's just a place to rest your head more than anything else. Like, you know, I've had my guys round for drinks after work a couple of times and all this sort of thing, but it's, you know, you just get on with it. And I think a lot of the bands, you know, some people turn their nose up at it, and just like, honestly, try living in it. It's such a laugh. I think
in the past 5 years, I've spent more time living in a caravan than in a house, and I love it. Like when you've done a long day in the summer,
and you can go back and you can just chill in a caravan. And a lot of entertainers love to have their curtains shut. You know the entertainers' caravan because they'll always have their curtains shut.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But another question for you, and Andy's
And
asked.
don't get me wrong, when I'm back at home, for the winter and I come back here where I am now at my parents' house, the first thing I do, run a bath. That's the one thing I miss. That's the one thing I will say about the caravan. Not many of them have a bathtub.
Definitely. Andy's asked, but we don't leave the stream at the end because he's going to end it for us. I've still got the question time for people if anyone's still watching. It's fine if they're not because we're approaching the 2-hour mark. But I just want to end by, obviously we said entertainment is really easy in some people's eyes. People that haven't done it tend to say, oh, it's really easy. So sometimes I'll hand them the mic and say, what would you like to say? Or sometimes those people that say it's really easy, you invite them on stage and they'll freak because being in front of everybody is one of the most scariest things. But encouraging young people to do entertainment, would you encourage people to do it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It doesn't. It's not just for a job prospect. It's good for your personality, and it's good for your confidence. It's like if you're comfortable with people, it helps you in a social way. It does for me a bit because I'm not too much of a social person myself. Ironically, well, I am, but I'm not at the same time. But being an entertainer, I've got more social over the years, and it's just like I prefer spending time with people rather than being alone. Where in the past I used to be the other way around. So yeah, I definitely recommend young people join an amateur dramatic society, do performance groups, join junior bands, do music, whatever. Just like get into a club where being on stage is kind of an expectation.
Yeah, cheers.
Because
what about you, Paddy?
Paddy,
nope.
you there? Paddy, hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
What about you?
I mean, yeah, encouraging. I mean, I've been speaking to my cousin about this because she's a dancer and everything else. I would just say to anybody who's maybe studying drama or performing arts at college, uni, whatever, if you're going from college to uni, do a gap year and do a season. That's what I would say, because the one thing it does give, I know a lot of people got a bit of a downer on it. I personally love it. Obviously, if I get the chance to be in the West End, I'd love that, but probably not. It gives you on-stage experience 6 nights a week. You learn the industry, you learn your craft, you learn a bit of tech at the same time. It's absolutely brilliant. And like you say, Rhys, the confidence of the battle, there's a guy I work with, Lewis. His girlfriend worked for the company I work for, and he was actually a loft converter. So, when people do the conversions loft, he was doing that. But he had the gift of the gab. So he didn't sing, he didn't dance. His timing was fantastic. He just had that natural thing. So again, give it a go. You never know if you don't try.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of entertainers, you get, obviously people say they wear a mask on stage, and I think that's really true. You do become someone else. And I think a lot of entertainers are reserved, but I've had a lot of people that have said to me they'd love to do entertainment. There's really nothing stopping you. There's not a massive brick wall in the way to be doing this thing. It's actually really easy to get into. But I think for a lot of people, they do think it's really easy, and they get into it. And then, how some people put it, you haven't got that magic fairy godmother anymore. You've really got to stand on your own 2 feet in entertainment, because people have their own gags, and people work together. And I do think it's one of them things where, like I said, it's close knit. But I'd encourage anyone to go for it. There's nothing standing in your way.
I will say, anyone that says entertainment is easy, in my personal opinion, I've had many jobs, I've had dangerous jobs in my life, but entertainment is a job, and it can't be a job, because when you do a job like, like retail or factory work or whatever, you can switch on, switch. It's like you can just with entertainment. With entertainment, you have to put your heart and soul into it. You have to put everything into your stagecraft. That's your personality, your voice, your appearance, everything. Entertainment is actually one of the hardest things you can do.
Definitely,
because
man. Definitely.
It's but once you can do it, it's the most rewarding experience you'll get.
Definitely. If anybody is still watching, a question I had, if anyone is still watching, obviously Rhys and Paddy can't answer it. If anyone is still watching, if anyone gets it right, they'll be put into a little raffle, pull out the winner's name, and they'll win a prize. So the question is, what is the capital of Belgium? What is the capital of Belgium? So if anyone gets it correct,
I know it.
Yes. If anyone gets it correct, put it in the comments, and you're in for a chance of winning a prize. So the question is, what is the capital of Belgium? Podcast 96. Literally, this was an idea I had about 5 days ago. I was laying in bed and I thought, I cannot play any more FIFA 20 on my
What's your team, by the way, Jordan?
There. What's that, mate? What did you say?
What football team do you support?
Oh, I'm a Chelsea boy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm actually in a massive league on
Don't
FIFA.
need to play any more FIFA because we know that Chelsea win everything. So
in the next couple of days, I'm in a league. But this podcast thing, it was literally an idea I had, and I thought I'll go on Facebook Live and I'll talk to a couple of people. But I've had Andy. A massive help and a massive thank you to Andy, because us three are talking here.
Andy,
yeah, definitely.
We've got Andy behind the scenes who's created this whole concept, and he's responsible for the ads that are coming up, all the comments that are coming up, and he's making sure there's no negativity on the page. And a massive well done to him. I'm going to be working with him in the next coming days, trying to get some more people on this podcast, coming up with more ideas for this podcast. So massive thank you to him. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Indeed.
It's my first podcast. I was really nervous about talking to my phone. But as soon as you come on, both of you, it really just calmed me down and eased me into it. What's he put?
You've done great, Jordan, honestly, mate. Fantastic. Thank
Only
you.
Garrett Huston and Sarah Huston have commented. Abracadabra, so I need to. That's fine.
Like Andy, I said, can I comment? Because I could do with a couple of new decks, Andy. Can I enter this?
I think it's too late now. Oh dear.
Like I said, I don't expect.
How many decks of cards have you got, Paddy? How many decks have you got?
I don't expect people to watch every second of every minute of this podcast. It takes up a lot of people's time, but in this time, let's face it, time of crisis, people really don't feel like they can talk to people every minute. And I just want to encourage people talking all the time. And having you two on here talking about things that you're passionate
Cheers, Andy,
about.
thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Having you two on here, it's been a pleasure. Having you as my first two guests. So I just want to say thank you to Paddy and thank you to Rhys. Thank you to everybody that commented and shared the page. Keep sharing it, and we'll have more podcasts coming up. 2 hours we've been going for, just talking. And that is a sign of three good friends. But hopefully one day we'll be seeing more of each other, because we've only been in the same building once. But we definitely need to do this again. So thank you, Rhys. Thank you, Paddy. For being my first two guests.
Again, Jordan, I will be popping down to Win Chelsea to see Sheepy at some point, so I'll pop in on Coghurst and say hi to you guys.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
I'll be about as well.
Yeah.
I'll be on my
travels. If you two want to get involved more with this podcast and producing it and coming up with ideas, you're in the group chat. Just let me know. We've got to stay in the stream. Andy said, don't leave the chat, and he'll end it for us. So thank you, everybody, for watching, commenting, share it, like
just like a Vaya. My God.
Share it with your friends. I'm going to start it. We'll go a Vaya style.
That's it. We'll link up bingo. Do your Bing
And what
O'Toole
was-
impression, Paddy.
Bing O'Toole.
Do it.
Oh,
What?
I can't think of what he said.
Oh, we didn't touch on impressions, did we? Maybe that's a subject for another podcast.
Yeah, impressions would have been good.
Do you want me to do my
Sorry,
Bing O'Toole
folks.
really quick?
No winners here tonight.
You know.
Better luck next time.
Oh, that's quite good.
Lady Luck has just popped out for a kebab. Right, so on that note, I'm going to leave it.
Bing O'Toole, and I'm back for another year and another fabulous bingo game. Woo-hoo, let's get this party started. There you go.
Keep an eye on those balls. Right, thank you guys. It's been an absolute
Very nice,
pleasure.
Mr. Bing. Oh,
Been
thanks,
awesome.
Gladys.
We'll stay in the stream. Reese, Paddy, I'll talk to you in a minute.
Alright,
If you
man.
can handle my voice
No
anymore.
worries.
Again, this
Cheers, Jordan. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for your questions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. This podcast, again, won't just be my voice. You won't always be hearing my voice. So don't worry. I'm bored of my voice today. So thank you, guys. We're signing off. There we go.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.